former Olympian who is on the verge, he believes, of being a top contender in the heavyweight division. And across the way, Darren Hayden, a 30-year-old veteran who feels this is his big chance this evening, and in fact it is just that if he could pull out a win over Danell Nicholson. And how might Darren Hayden do that, and how might Nicholson get the job done? The AutoZone keys to victory.
Hey, Al, a little flashback for you. Remember jab, jab, jab?
Yes.
Back in the early days. That's what Nicholson wants to do. He's known for that. He's got a very good one. Right hand's inside, a very powerful fighter. He's been fighting inside more lately. Hayden, he wants to move Nicholson to the right, away from any power, and he wants to throw some left hooks. He thinks that's the key.
All right, we'll see if they can accomplish that. Our heavyweights are set to go in the center of the ring. Darren Hayden and Danell Nicholson. Let's go to James Belanger.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next fight is scheduled for 8 rounds. Your referee, Johnny Femia. Ladies and gentlemen, in the right corner, wearing the gold trunks, weighing in at 223.5 pounds, with a record of 23 wins, 1 loss, 18 by knockout, from Chicago, Illinois, Danell Nicholson. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the black trunks, weighing in at 154 pounds, with a record of 25 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws, 14 by knockout, from Virginia Beach, Florida, Darren Hayden.
Don't fight, baby, don't fight.
Guys. Gentlemen, you were giving you pre-fight instructions in the dressing room. I want you to protect yourself at all times. I want you to obey my commands at all times. Touch gloves and come out the sound of the bell.
There is Danell Nicholson. I mentioned a former Olympian for the United States. And this young man, this 28-year-old, feels he's on the verge of contention. Darren Hayden, the 30-year-old veteran, comes in here with a 14-3-1 record, who, by the way, would correct his weight. He is 226 pounds. And he is ready to go, isn't he? Halfway across the ring when we're getting ready to start. You last saw Danell Nicholson here on ESPN against Jesse Ferguson. He won on a TKO in 8 rounds in October 19th. But from that fight, Dave, Darren Hayden got what he thinks is a blueprint to victory.
Figures he can use it right on in here. Crowd, fire left hooks, smother, and you see him trying to do that here in the beginning of this fight.
In the fight against Ferguson, Danell Nicholson laid on the inside a little too much, got hit with some pretty good left hooks. And Hayden thinks he can make that work to his advantage. We will see. Scheduled for 8. That's where Nicholson wants to be, firing the jab in the right hand from the outside.
And if he puts the right hand behind the jab, it's lethal. Especially early in the fight. He's had very good power early in fights. And he tried for it there. He tried to turn into a right hand, get Hayden to walk into it, and almost did.
Nicholson using the jab much as he did back in 1992. I saw him there in Barcelona when he came very close to beating the fabled Cuban fighter Felix Savon. Lost the decision, a very close one.
And he is utilizing his height and reach thus far.
His loss as a pro came to Jeremy Williams. He was knocked out by Williams. Since then, has put together quite a nice win streak and is working with Emmanuel Stewart at the Clock Gym and feels that he is a reborn heavyweight.
In the beginning, they thought he was too much of a boxer. They wanted him to slug more. Now they want him to go back to a halfway point between the boxing and the slugging. He came a long way in the slugging department, but they feel too much so. So now they would like to see a little bit more mixed in here.
About a minute to go here in round 1. It's scheduled for 8.
Thus far, even when Nicholson has not landed his jab, although he's done a good job with it, he's been able to freeze Hayden.
Well, Darren Hayden not fighting the way he wanted to. He's on the outside, getting hit with jabs and straight right hands by Danell Nicholson. And he's wild with that hook. His plan was to come in and throw the hook to the body of that head, but he hasn't been close enough to Nicholson to do that.
And if he wants, he can bob and weave, get inside first, and then explode out of a crouch.
Under a half-minute left to go here in round one. Again, Nicholson landing a good right hand.
Hayden trying for the occasional counterpunch. It's not his ticket, though.
So round one goes quite nicely for Danell Nicholson. We'll see how the second is. Danell Nicholson coming out. And Hayden down from a right hand. So Darren Hayden, who got hit with a couple of good right hands in the first round, didn't look hurt, but this time he gets nailed with a lead right and goes down. Was he just off balance, or how hurt is he? We'll find out.
And we can mark that right hand from the opening round when Nicholson landed it on the outside and did not have everything on it. He waited for a chance to unload with everything, and he got it.
Well, Hayden is now trying to crank up those left hooks, but not having much success. Nicholson's getting there with the right hand.
He can't bob and weave going backwards. That's what he's doing here. He's getting out of the way, but he's retreating, not moving toward the target.
Yeah, you have to go forward if you're going to use that style. Oh, another big right hand. Nicholson landing some huge punches here.
And when Hayden opened up to try to throw his left hook, it took a while to get there, and he opened up the entire left side of his body, and Nicholson's going to find it.
Oh, my! Darren Hayden with a big right. He pushed Nicholson back, and he may have hurt him. He did hurt him. Shades of the Ferguson fight. Darren Hayden in big trouble, but came back with a huge right hand, and it was the hook he thought that would hurt Nicholson.
He just found Nicholson in front of him, and there it was.
It's never boring when Danell Nicholson gets in there. Hayden now is ripping shots, throwing them from left and right field and landing a few. And there's another right hand that gets home. So in a round in which Hayden was hurt badly early, he has stunned Danell Nicholson. Good hook by Nicholson and a good right hand. Short right inside by Hayden. He's getting hit on the ropes, but he comes back.
Nicholson sometimes has to be forced into doing his best action. That's what's happened here. He gets clocked again.
Nicholson goes straight back and stands straight up and pays the price.
And that's just a matter of not following through after he punches. He's not bringing the jab back. He's not moving out of the way. He's not punctuating his offense.
So Darren Hayden and Danell Nicholson have taken turns hurting each other here in round two. Now it's Nicholson's turn. What a round. They both need the minute rest. I think we do too. Great second round.
Round one comes out quickly in round two. Gets Hayden's attention and able to put him down right away. We see that many times fighters try to storm out there and get a surprise, but look, he stops and Nicholson gets hit. He jabbed, he was looking for something downstairs, he stopped, and that brought out Hayden.
Darren Hayden tried to make the most of his opportunity there in round two, couldn't quite do it. We head into round three in what has been so far a very exciting heavyweight matchup. Danell Nicholson in the gold trunks, the 28-year-old former Olympian, and Darren Hayden in the black trunks.
And Nicholson fired twice as many jabs in the first round as in the Ferguson fight. And then in the second round, Hayden had a good round as far as power punches landed.
Darren Hayden, the 30-year-old veteran, feels this is an excellent opportunity for him. Had 6 weeks to train for this fight. Normally he's taking him on short notice, and he feels that'll make a big difference for him. He watched the Jesse Ferguson fight, thought he picked up some things there, but ironically, what's worked for him tonight isn't what Jesse Ferguson was doing.
And Nicholson's camp will have to be concerned with what happened in the last round, and again what's happening here even should he go on to win the fight. He's getting hit too much, backed up, rocked. This is a fighter that they want to take to the next level. This is a big test, and he may not be passing it.
And watching, I'm sure at home, Andrew Galata, the man who, by the way, Darren Hayden lost to. That's a man that is supposed to fight in March against Danell Nicholson. Galata knocked out Hayden, TKO in the 7th round. His last fight, Hayden lost to Alex Stewart by TKO. Those are 2 of his 3 losses.
Let him up, let him up. Break!
Perhaps one reason the Ferguson style hasn't worked against Nicholson tonight for Hayden is that it was in Nicholson's last fight, and he's so familiar with it. He just saw it and knows how to go against it.
Well, and also Darren Hayden doesn't deliver the left hook the way Jesse Ferguson does. That's one thing Jesse Ferguson has never lost the knack of doing. Hayden's had a hard time getting down and doing that. There's the right by Nicholson. Now, though, let's think about this. Darren Hayden has found he can land the right hand. Maybe that should be the place he concentrates.
He's trying to load up with it there and getting down low and firing from an awkward angle.
We're in round 3, under a minute here to go, and it's been a brutal and tough pace.
Hayden trying to win the hardest way you can to win a fight, on points at least, as a counterpuncher. He is waiting for Nicholson. That will cost him points.
So we're approaching the halfway point in this fight, and it's been fun. And there's the corner of Darren Hayden as they try and help him out.
This is yours, baby. Don't let it go. Don't let it go now. This is yours.
Well, listen and watch. Blatantly after the bell, should have been a point deducted right there.
Very, very late. Johnny Femia was lenient with Darren Hayden. And in fact that it didn't land very well, it probably had something to do with it. They paused for a moment to get a towel out of the corner of Darren Hayden. We head into round 4. It is scheduled for 8. Danell Nicholson in the gold, Darren Hayden in the black. Hayden was stunned in the first round. In the second round, both men were hurt. And it has been a slugfest.
Nicholson tried to get back here to what he did in round 1 with the jabbing and up on his toes for a little bit. Tried to move Hayden around in a circle. He gets him moving the right way, then he can drop in that right-hand bomb.
And by the way, Hayden was down in the second round as well. A flash knockdown at the beginning of the round.
And
wow.
It has not been Hayden's department with the jab, and that's a key for Nicholson. We highlighted it earlier. He is really doing the job with the jab.
Nicholson, a 28-year-old from Chicago, still lives there but trains primarily in Detroit in the Kronk Gym with Emmanuel Stewart. You see the traditional Kronk colors.
Nicholson, and outside now he's trying inside. When you see a fighter like that work on the running and the jabbing as he did in the beginning of the round, you almost get the feeling he's working on something, perhaps even for a future fight. They want to see in the corner how he handles a certain particular style, something they're bringing into him.
Darren Hayden played running back in high school football. He's trying to get pay dirt tonight. Hopes that a win can get him some attention. Got a decent record, 14-3-1, but was lost in his 2 major tests against Alex Stewart and Galata. Nicholson using the jab to set everything up. Nice counter right by Hayden. And he's shown more power in the right than his left.
Nicholson fired his from outside, and Hayden was able to counter. And one reason that right hand has been open so much, Nicholson told us this morning about wanting to become like the Kronk fighters, and in that regard, he's got his left hand down low, all of the Tommy Hearns, and he's open for right hands.
Well, it all started with Hilmer Kenty and that jab at his waist, and Tommy Hearns around the same time when he was beginning. Not everybody can get away with that, can they? Nice combinations by Nicholson. Galata set back on his heels. Or Hayden, I should say. Got Andrew Galata on the mind.
Might be next time.
We'll be back for round 5.
Feeling their power. Nicholson gets his, partially blocked. Hayden gets his, and that got it.
We head into round 5. It is scheduled for 8. Danell Nicholson, the gold. Darren Hayden in the black. I'm Al Bernstein along with Dave Bontempo, our final boxing match of the year. And we're happy you joined us not only for this one, but throughout the year.
Well, that's one example of Nicholson's dominance. 2-to-1 edge, practically, in punches landed. Univer concerns him that Hayden is still around after the knockdown and after the early advantage enjoyed by Nicholson here.
Well, we mentioned that Nicholson is scheduled to fight Andrew Galata in March. That's an important fight for Galata, like him, a top prospect. And when you are a prospect, especially after Nicholson, a fighter like Nicholson has lost once to Jeremy Williams, in boxing you are scrutinized to the max, and so people are watching and wondering. And any moment when you slip a little bit, people are asking questions.
Fight out of it, guys. Fight out of it.
Some of those may be perfunctory questions, but nevertheless the ones that are asked. Halfway through round 5. Good as a collage would do, but I'm trying.
It puts you on the ticket, though.
Wild left hook by Darren Hayden.
Nicholson trying to time the right hand. Got it in there with just the jab as a rangefinder.
Well, the amount of jabs, good jabs and soft jabs that Nicholson has landed is really extraordinary. He has done the job with that punch. Under a minute left to go here in round 5. And you have to feel that Darren Hayden's going to have to make something happen here.
Well, he had his moments in round 2, although he was also down in that round. He's had flashes of very good things here, but he can't put it together, and he's trying to do it as a counterpuncher. He will have to gamble.
And you know, when Jeremy Williams beat Danell Nicholson, I think he beat him because he's a good finisher. Nicholson has good recuperatory powers. We've seen it in many fights. But a guy like Williams, who throws lots of punches, and we've seen it from him, he's a very good finisher. That's why he beat Nicholson.
Let him out, let him out.
Williams doesn't let guys off the hook, and we saw just a brief glimpse tonight that Nicholson was hurt and was able to come back.
Nicholson blasting away as round 5 comes to a conclusion. Into Danell Nicholson's corner.
In the meantime, hard jab, keep the pressure on his man. He's only got one punch. You the fighter, you the man has got one punch out. He don't jab, he don't throw right hand, he don't throw uppercut, he just squat, then know the hook. You just see us coming, you should walk right to his head. So just put your right hand on the side of the head and dog him. I would have it for snap partner with this. Just put your right hand on the side of the head and just take it right to him. The man ain't got nothing but that. It's a snap partner.
Well, a more animated Emmanuel Stewart than we are used to hearing.
And displaying a lot of concern, stuff we talked about earlier, how Nicholson had walked into some stuff and calling Hayden here nothing more than a sparring partner to go finish him off. And these are the kind of things we talked about. Emmanuel Stewart is looking. Will Nicholson pass the test?
We're in round 6. It is scheduled for 8. And an indication of just how well Nicholson has done with that jab.
What his people will look for in future fights is what he will do off that jab. Tonight it hasn't been too much, except for one. He's been yelled at. He responds to that.
But he's staying on the inside here with Hayden. I think they want him on the outside punching. He's staying right there where he can be hit with a hook or a short right hand. I don't think they want that.
Want a little bit more room from him here.
No question, Danell Nicholson is winning this fight. And even the concern by, oh, big hook. Now he has Hayden hurt, I believe.
And Hayden may not have the guns to stop him now as Nicholson really has everything going for him here, and Hayden is tired.
Remember, the last time Hayden was hurt, he came back and hurt Nicholson. Nicholson tends to get arm weary when he hurts a guy. But Hayden's still throwing. Go wild. Nicholson is a 28-year-old who has been a pro since 1992 when after he represented the United States in the Olympics, has only one loss, that to Jeremy Williams.
Nicholson wants badly to finish Hayden here.
Nice right hand. Well, Danell Nicholson landing his share of big shots. There's a hook by Hayden. But he is not able to put Darren Hayden away. There's the hook from Hayden. And another one, and another one. Is Nicholson hurt again? We'll see. It's been a huge round for Danell Nicholson.
Hayden's hooks didn't have the snap up before, but they still got in.
Nicholson is landing lots of punches and landing them well. He's offensively a very skilled fighter, Danell Nicholson. It's really defense that is his questionable area.
Big right hand again behind. And then if the corner is going to be concerned, can he finish better fighters in the future?
So round 6 passes into the night. Big one for Nicholson, but at the end he gets whacked.
Nicholson focuses his eyes on the target downstairs and doesn't go there. Goes up on top and was able to unload. A nice combination here against Hayden.
So we head into round 7. It has been pretty much a one-sided bout with Danell Nicholson in the gold trunks winning against Darren Hayden, and yet, though one-sided, it has been interesting because Darren Hayden has managed to come through from time to time and stun Danell Nicholson, thus giving us some mystery.
A glimpse into both fighters as Nicholson with the edge in the punches in round 6. Hayden, 20 of those 24 were power shots. He's fought like the jab has been outlawed tonight. He's not been able to get inside the Nicholson jab.
But when they look at those numbers, and so many fight managers and trainers do look at those numbers as they should from Punch Profile to pick up trends and figure out what's going on, they will not like the 50% landed against Nicholson. It's something I know Emmanuel Stewart wants to cut down on.
And he won't like, in this case, the lack of the finishing ability in this fight. Even though Hayden is durable, Nicholson has done everything to try to finish him and hasn't been able to thus far.
Nice hook by Hayden. And I'll tell you what, offensively, Nicholson throws lots of combinations. He's not a ponderous punching heavyweight. Throws nice combinations, good sharp punches, but still, Darren Hayden's hanging in there right now. I tell you, Danell Nicholson doing a little holding on.
Nicholson fights in sustained bursts, and then when he stops, he pays a heavier price than he should. He really cannot get any breaks and create any breathing room for himself in the course of a fight.
Punch out of that. Let's go, guys. Punch out.
More than halfway through round 7. It's an 8-rounder. Only one knockdown in the fight. Hayden was down in round 2, but there has been lots of action and lots of heavy punches landed.
Only in boxing can you fight a guy 14-3, win just about every round, shutout, and there's going to be a lot found wrong with it.
Absolutely. Oh, what a slugfest. Now they are both standing there toe-to-toe. Darren Hayden took some huge shots, but landed a few. Good jab by Hayden. How about that? He threw one. What an idea. Maybe earlier it would have helped him. Good right by Nicholson. He goes after Darren Hayden.
Well, Hayden fighting without any pressure, totally nothing to lose, but he is tired.
He has taken tremendous shots from Nicholson, and yet give him an A for courage. He has stayed in there and come back and landed some big shots as well. So we've had a very exciting heavyweight matchup. Hayden trapped against those ropes, and Nicholson goes to work.
Let him go in here, let him go.
Nice uppercut by Hayden. So we're going to go to a round 8. And I'll tell you what, give Darren Hayden some credit. He has hung in there, and I mean hung in big time. Remember the keys to victory?
Well, Nicholson has jabbed. We've shown the numbers on that. He's been very persistent. The right hands have been timely, both from inside and the outside. The jab is key for Nicholson. Nicholson has not been forced to his right by Hayden. He needed to do that, and the left hooks have gotten in on occasion, but not enough to overcome the jab and the power of Nicholson. And Nicholson opening up. Perfect shot there. Hayden answers with his left hook, one of his keys. Nicholson getting everything into his punches. This is just a home run derby boxing style here. Both guys teeing off.
Move it back and keep the right hand on the side of your head, okay?
Let's go, seconds.
Move him back. Keep him backing up.
Let's go, seconds.
So Danell Nicholson comes out for the 8th and final round of this heavyweight encounter, taking on Darren Hayden. It has been a slugfest, one dominated mostly by Danell Nicholson, but in which Darren Hayden has had his moments. Nicholson comes out roaring here in the 8th.
I give Nicholson credit for this much. He hasn't faded back and just accepted a decision victory. He wants to come in here, he wants to get this knockout, and he wants to build a string of sustaining rounds and always coming in there and being aggressive.
Dave, you made the most salient point in the last round. Only in boxing can you fight a guy 14-3. Can you win almost every round, and still you're going to have a lot of skeptics criticizing you, and maybe justifiably, I don't know.
And they're measuring him against Galata at this point and where he's going to be a few months from now, so the expectation is higher. Now, we've seen Emmanuel Stewart throughout the years, and we almost never see him lose his composure.
Not that animated as he was in the corner. We're in round 8. It is the final round. Perhaps our last round of boxing for 1995. Good hook by Danell Nicholson. That one hurt him.
That got right on the point of the chin. He could end it here.
A standing 8 count. There is one available, and Johnny Femia uses it. Darren Hayden should be happy instead of sad about this.
He doesn't realize the plight he was in, because that hook by Nicholson got the point of the chin. We'll see if he goes back to it.
Now that's the same as a knockdown, so Darren Hayden's in a further hole. And I'll tell you what, this one's close to being stopped, I believe.
Darren Hayden can only get a moral victory getting to the end, but with Nicholson all over him, Johnny Femia right there, he'd stop it with one good convincing argument.
Darren Hayden is a very tough guy, but at this juncture he is taking some huge punishment, and Nicholson going after him. Johnny Femia looking carefully. I don't know if there's anything left on Hayden's punches.
And he's not throwing enough.
He's hurt.
To make the case to even measure what's there.
If he gets trapped in that corner, I think Johnny Femia will stop this fight. Oh, they have to stop it now. He's got to go in there and stop this fight pretty soon.
Hayden is only trying to survive, not fighting back here, and this is open season for Danell Nicholson. There might be 1 or 2 punches away here. Femia is leaning in there.
Well, there's only seconds remaining, I guess, but I just hate to see Darren Hayden take this punishment after taking a fight full of punishment. Well, this fight should be over right now. Thank God it's almost over on the clock. And I'm not trying to really denigrate Johnny Femia. He's a very fine referee, but I tell you, in this instance, I just hated to see Hayden take that punishment. Danell Nicholson gets a win, to be sure, and this young man fought courageously but took a lot of punishment.
Nicholson had every offensive weapon going and could not finish this durable opponent.
And I'll tell you what, when you think of, in the 8th round, here's Danell Nicholson throwing beautiful combinations. If people are going to pick him apart and scrutinize him, as everyone's supposed to do when you're a young contender, they should also accept that fact. And really, let's be honest, the only thing that people worry about with Danell Nicholson is his chin.
And stopping and paying a big price when he does stop in the middle of a round. And in round 8, after he's taken a good number of shots, Nicholson will show his resilience here, coming up and doing everything to try to get this fight to end. This was constant for the last 4 rounds of the fight especially. First, you get the standing 8 count, which bought Hayden some more time, perhaps unwittingly for him, and then there's another good left hook right on the point. Nicholson getting everything in here. Even a right-handed shot that they would ask him not to throw from that weird angle. And toward the end, there's nothing holding Nicholson back here. Could have made the argument right about here to stop it. He's getting everything in, and Hayden hanging on, wants to get to the final bell, and he did.
Just barely. So kudos to that man for courage and fighting hard. Had its moments, but not nearly enough. We expect it will be a win for Danell Nicholson. James Belanger is in the center of the ring. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision. Judge Russell Knockass scores the fight 80-71. Judge Terry Wood scores the fight 79-71. Judge Earl McCarthy scores the fight 79-71. Your winner by unanimous decision, Danell Doc Nicholson.
So Danell Nicholson gets his 14th straight win since his loss to Jeremy Williams. And he is awaiting a big match with Andrew Golota. He's also awaiting a chance to chat with our man, Dave Bontempo. We'll be back. Stay with us. Darren Hayden out. And even into the 8th and final round, he was landing huge combinations, hurting Hayden with just about everything he was throwing, especially at the end. Never lost his technique or his composure. And that's a happy member of the Nicholson family, isn't it, Dave? Let's go to Dave Bontempo right now.
Got the Nicholson family portrait here. Danell, after the big start of the knockdown in round 2, did you ever think he'd be around at the end?
Well, after his big start, my big start, rather, I tried to just open it up with the jab and hit it with the right hand.
Were you surprised he came back at you and seemed to hurt you a little bit in round 2?
Well, I was being a little careless. Coach told me to stop being careless. And I just kept up the pace and just kept doing what Coach was saying for me to do.
Also, it seemed like you stayed on the outside more tonight and you jabbed more.
I can box. But like I said, I thank God, everybody at Crunk, Fuller Park, Chicago. I love you. God bless you. Merry Christmas.
If you do get a fight with Andrew Golota, what do you think will be the key to that matchup for you?
Ain't no key. We just fight, doing what my coaches say. Thank God that, hey, I'm able to be in this place. And again, thank everybody. My mom here, father-in-law, and everybody, my wife, my 4 coaches, and my little baby. Thank God.
Okay, they're all in there. Danell, everybody accounted for. Let's take it back now to Al Bernstein.
It'll be a happy Christmas in the Nicholson household. And we will be back with more of our thoughts from the Bossier City Civic Center right after this. Stay with us. Who are on their way, they feel, to big matches, could not afford to stub their toes, and they didn't. First, Anthony Stevens with what might be the best performance of his career.
Really did see him sit down in his punches very well tonight, Al. Good power, good leverage. At 154, he's pretty formidable. And if he gets that match with Terry Norris, which he hopes to get, a very big thing for him will be starting out fast and making it seem for him like old times.
All right, he hopes to have a fight with Terry Norris coming up soon for the junior middleweight championship. Now, there is Danell Nicholson beating Darren Hayden. This was a performance. He needed a win to get to Andrew Golota, and boy, he showed lots of power tonight.
He went after it from all angles. Good leverage, good right hands. The jab, which was a key, which he'll need in any matchup with Golota. Unable to finish it, but a very strong offensive performance for Danell Nicholson.
Now, this was a performance in which he showed us all the offensive skills that he's shown us before, but also showed us that on occasion he can get clipped on the chin and get hurt.
And that is why Emmanuel Stewart, who was a very calm man, got very upset in the corner, and he was really lecturing Nicholson to do better with that. That's something that's going to follow him. He'll have to get over that with good jabbing.
All right, so we have seen some intriguing matchups this evening. We're going to be back for a final thought. Stay with us.
Let's go up to James Monson.